राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन का आयोजन किया गया है और इस राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन के शुभ अवसर पर हमारे मंच में उपस्थित हैं हमारे झारखंड विधानसभा के वरिष्ठ विधायक प्रोफेसर स्टीफन मरांडी जी, वरिष्ठ विधायक श्री रामचंद्र चंद्रवंशी जी, हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं माननीय विधायक डॉक्टर लंबोदर महतो जी, नेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी स्टेट ऑफ स्टडी एंड रिसर्च इन लॉ रांची के कुलपति प्रोफेसर केशवा राव बेराकुला जी, पीआरएस लेजिस्लेटिव रिसर्च के श्री चक्षु राय जी, रांची प्रोफेसर ए लक्ष्मीनाथ जी, प्रोफेसर दिलीप उके जी, प्रोफेसर मनोज कुमार सिन्हा जी, प्रोफेसर अनुराग दीप जी, डॉक्टर नीरज कुमार जी, प्रोफेसर उदय शंकर जी, प्रोफेसर शिव कुमार जी, डॉक्टर के श्यामल जी, प्रोफेसर कृष्ण महाजन जी, प्रोफेसर जोगेश प्रसाद सिंह जी, डॉक्टर रविंद्र कुमार पाठक जी, इस सम्मेलन के लिए देश के अलग अलग हिस्सा से, अलग अलग जगहों से आए हुए विधि विशेषज्ञगण, विधानसभा के प्रभारी सचिव, सभा सचिवालय के पदाधिकारी एवं कर्मचारीगण, प्रेस मीडिया के साथी और इस सम्मेलन में पहुंचे हमारे प्यारे बच्चे, मैं इस सम्मेलन में सभा सचिवालय के ओर से आप सबों को तहे दिल धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करता हूं। साथ ही आप सबों को मेरे तरफ से जोहार। Welcome to the state of Jharkhand. The state of Jharkhand, the land of forest or jungle, a beautiful landscape of the green fields and dense forest welcomes you with folded hands. My humble greeting to one and all gathered here to make the National Conference on Center-State Relations a successful academic event. Before going into the subject of the National Conference, I would like to speak about the state of Jharkhand. The land of Jharkhand is geologically one of the oldest land masses of the earth. A paper recently published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science revealed that the Singhbum Craton was found 3,100 million years ago. It is the first landmass that come out of water in the world. This is the land of one of the oldest tribes of the world, having their lineage of Harappan civilization or evergreen older habitation of the mankind. This is the land of the first iron smelters of the world who helped the Mauryan and Guptas to become the most glorious empires of their times. This is the land of Baba Tilka Maji, Sidho Kanu, Phulo Jhano, Chand Bhairav, Bhagwan Birsa Munda, Sheikh Bhikhari, Nilambar Pitambar, Amar Shahid Thakur Vishwanath, Sahdev, Jaipal Singh, Mundaji and Shibu Soren. After probably the longest and most democratic separate state agitation, state of Jharkhand was carved out of Bihar state on 15th November 2000, and 22 years have passed since then, and as the part of the celebration of our 3 days Foundation Day ceremony, we have organized this national conference. With this introduction about the state of Jharkhand, I will start my today's keynote speech with the words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Chairman, Drafting Committee of the Constitution of India. I quote, "Through the country and the people may be divided into different state and governance is distributed between the center and states. For the convenience of administration, the country is one integral whole. Its people, a single people living under a single imperium derived from a single source, unquote. As said by the Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, though for the administrative convenience, the governance is distributed between the center and state together, both the institutions shall be strive hard to achieve the welfare state. On 26th January 2022, we celebrated the Republic Day, commemorate 75 years of the progressive India and glorious history of the people, culture and achievements. 76 years in the life of the nation such as India are perhaps inadequate to judge the strength of the constitutional institution and systems of governance. Yet, political leadership at the central, state and local levels organized governance in the spirit of the Constitution by promoting harmonious relations between the center and the state. A healthy center-state relation is critical for the stability, security, and economic development of the country. The turn of events, time of the country's partition preceding the birth of the Indian impelled the Constitution Assembly to opt for a federalism which is slightly titled towards the center, but state being the impart instrument of the progress and transition has also been given powers in the Constitution. The operate and the concurrent field is created by giving primacy to the laws passed by the Parliament of our state, laws keeping residency powers of the center and imposition of emergency rule by the center in extreme situation were incorporated as essential elements of the Constitution. The federal system of the governance has been discussed at the length in various articles of the Constitution outlining the determining the relationship between central and state governments in the last 7 decades since the Constitution has been come into the force. 105 amendments have taken place, with several of these having direct bearing the center-state relationship. Time to time, the center-state relations were put to a test and independent India saw changing eras of the federalism from cooperative to competitive. There were widespread demands of the providing greater autonomy for the state in their functioning, wanting to create their own niche in their respective regions. Many political historians and the constitutional experts like RCS Sarkar observed that over-centralizations of the powers in the hands of the union government was one of the major reasons behind rising conflict between the center and the state. Various commissions such as the Administrative Reforms Commission, Sarkaria Commission, Panchi Commission, etc. were constituted to provide recommendation for building harmonious center-state relation. The federal setup of India took new shape when country had to confront the issues of the terrorism, security of nation, economic development, international relation, demands of the growing population, etc. The state were expected to function on a scale larger than before, though their access to tax powers and borrowing remained limited. Center's power of the intervention have been circumscribed to the judicial pronouncement in several areas, such as impositions of President's rule, the dictum of basic structure of the Constitution, propounded by the Supreme Court in the celebrated Kesavanand Bharati case, also tied the hands of the center in important ways. The effect inter alia was that while the state felt handicapped in the pursuing development programs of their own for lack of adequate funds, the center found itself hamstrung even when there were serious backdown in law and order in some areas. This dynamic in the center-state relation in the Indian federal setup always demand for another look at the entire gamut of the center-state relation. Relation between the center and the states range over a wide area. They cover but are not confined to the entire field of the administration and in fact overstep into that of the politics. The starting point of my examination of center-state relation start to the study of the interplay of the administration and politics and is not easy to define. The lawyers and constitutional pundits debate at length whether India is a unitary state or a federation or a quasi-federation. Whatever may be the characterization considering the size of our country and its derived population, it is for sure that governments cannot be effectively carried out unless the local initiative was blended with the central support. The original intent of the constitution makers is to have a delicate balance of powers between the center and state, but not place neither the state under the center or nor center under the state. I believe there is a requirement of the promoting the constitutional ideology in the right way and needs to reiterate the innate of the constitution makes time and again we are observing its breakdown practically every day. This national conference has been designed to look at the constitutional mechanism of the center-state relation. They have evolved and also to derive recommendation for the solution and improving the working of our federal structure in the light of economic and social developments and to bring about good governance for the benefit of the society and poor people. No matter what the constitutional provision, Dr. Rajendra Prasad warned, the welfare of the country will depend on how it is administered. The aspect of the good governance needs to highlight it. There is a need for the addressing the appropriate role which is required to the played by the center, the state and the panchayats and municipality areas, the third tier of our constitutional structure and how it can be ensured that there is a synergy amongst them. This is daunting task of hoping that the deliberation of various aspects of the center-state relation to be delivered by the academician and the constitutional scholars from the various parts of the country who are with us will take the task forward and educate the participants and will bring fruitful and meaningful interaction upon the topics of the national conference. With these words, I have with rest and request Professor Dr. Kesab Rao Bharakula, the Vice Chancellor, National University of Study and Research in Law, Ranchi, to take the lead in carrying the proceedings of the conference. Jai Hind. Thank you. Jai Jharkhand.